Yo guys, what's going on? I am Justin, he is Tim. This is the Real Sports Talk. NFC Championship Game is officially over. The New York Giants versus the New England Patriots at Super Bowl 46. Tim, we'll bring you right in here, then I'll get my comments here in a little while. Tim, give me your reaction to the game.
Justin, absolutely incredible game. Let me recap what happened. In the first quarter, Vernon Davis caught a 73-yard touchdown pass from Alex Smith to make it a 7-0 game. In the second quarter, Bear Pascal, tight end for the Giants, caught his first career NFL touchdown from Eli Manning to tie it at 7-7. And going into the half, Lawrence Tynes hit a 31-yard field goal to make it 10-7. In the third quarter, Vernon Davis caught his second touchdown pass of the game. This guy had an incredible playoffs. Made it a 14-10 game. Then in the fourth quarter, back and forth, incredible. Mario Manningham, 17-yard touchdown pass with from Eli Manning, and that was with 8 minutes and 34 seconds left. And obviously, the thing to say about that is that it came off of Kyle Williams, who couldn't decide whether he wanted to pick the punt up or not, and it brushed his knee. They reviewed it, and it did brush his knee, which gave the Giants great field position, which led to them scoring. The 49ers, however, would come back to tie the game on a David Akers 25-yard field goal with 5 minutes and 39 seconds left. And then from there on out, I was almost 100% sure we were going to overtime. In overtime, it went back and forth. It was at the point where the Giants had to punt the ball away, and they punted it away. Looked like the 49ers were about to get it back, and the ball was stripped from Kyle Williams. And Justin, I know you know Kyle, and we'll get to that in a second. Kyle drops the ball. Ultimately, the Giants run a few plays with Ahmad Bradshaw, and Lawrence Tynes kicks his second NFC title game winning field goal of his career. And the New York Giants, the New York Football Giants, are headed to Indianapolis to play the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 46.
Yeah, guys, I know Kyle Williams. He went to Arizona State. He is a second-year wide receiver out of ASU, and there was a lot of pressure. A lot of people are gonna be like, "What kind of pressure was put on him?" The San Francisco 40 Giants were without Ted Ginn Jr. with a knee injury, and that forced Kyle Williams, who played pretty decent during the season. He had 20 receptions for 241 yards and 3 touchdowns. The biggest game was against, I think, the Dallas Cowboys. I can say there was a lot of pressure on him after that where he touched the ball with his knee, and this is going to last with him for a very long time. This is a rookie mistake, and I think going into next year, Kyle Williams is going to correct from his mistakes and try to work from there. So,
and let's be honest, Kyle Williams is fast, but Ted Ginn Jr. is one of the most electrifying punt returners in the NFL today. So this is not exactly an ideal position. It's not a position Kyle Williams had to be in this season, and certainly, you know, there is that to be said about it. But that also the other side of that is that he not only made one mistake that led to points, he made to. If he doesn't touch that ball with his knee, the 49ers probably just win that game and it's done. Yeah. And then if he doesn't drop that ball, you got to just go down there if you're going to drop it. I don't care what you got to do. You cannot drop that punt because that cannot be the way that you lose a game.
Absolutely. So let's go right into some stats. Going to the San Francisco's defense. Let's start off with the defense. The San Francisco defense really brought today, sacking Eli Manning 6 times. But Eli Manning passed the ball the whole game, you should really say. He was 32 for 58 with 316 yards. And it was just all passing. Eli Manning is a passing type of quarterback. Ahmad Bradshaw, 20 rushing attempts for 74 yards. Brandon Jacobs, he had a little bit. He came into the game a little bit. 5 rush attempts for 13 yards. Nothing really coming from Brandon Jacobs. Going to receiving for the New York Giants, Victor Cruz was just everywhere on that field. 10 receptions for 142 yards. Hakeem Nicks, 5 receptions for 55 yards. The San Francisco 49ers, let's go to them now. Alex Smith, 12 for 26, 196 yards and 2 touchdowns, only getting sacked 3 times in the game. Frank Gore played a pretty decent game, 16 rushing attempts for 74 yards, no touchdowns. The passing, it was just all Vernon Davis. Vernon Davis just capitalized on where catches will really need to be needed. 3 receptions for 112 yards, everybody. The longest play was 73 yards, and he got almost all the touchdowns pretty much for the San Francisco 49ers. He got 2 on the night. So, Tim, we're heading to Super Bowl 46 next week. We got the Pro Bowl. Tim, I want to hear your reactions to the Pro Bowl.
Well, I'll give you my reactions to the most exciting weekend of the NFL season in a second. But first, the thing is, for Victor Cruz and the way he is going to get out of this, and it's never going to be noticed, is Victor Cruz really disappeared towards the end of that fourth quarter. I don't think he had a catch in the last 8 minutes of that game when the Giants really needed a big catch. For the 49ers, Michael Crabtree just had an awful game today, did not do what they need him to do, and that's be a number 1 receiver for this team. He had 1 catch for 3 yards, and it didn't come till the end of the game, and it was essentially a pointless catch because regardless, the 49ers were going to kick a field goal to tie that game. Alex Smith, for as much as he progressed this season, did not play well today. I know he did not turn the ball over, and he threw for almost 200 yards, but unfortunately for him, he missed a lot of, and I remember playing the first or second quarter where he had a guy that had basically beat his man and would have scored, and he threw the ball 5 or 10 yards too long, and you just cannot do that in the NFC Championship Game. Super Bowl teams do not do that, and for as much as people say in the first year, if this is how far they go, the sky is the limit, I really tend to think that this team overachieved for what their potential is, and quite frankly, they're going to come back with Alex Smith next season and maybe even the season after. And I'm just not really sure if Alex Smith is ever going to be able to duplicate the season he had this year. I know a lot of people have doubted Alex Smith, and he proved them wrong this year. But I'm just not sure if that's going to be able to happen again. And as far as people saying they're not going to watch the Super Bowl, but let's be honest, everyone in America will be watching the Super Bowl. I don't know why you wouldn't want to watch New York versus essentially Boston, and what figures to be a tremendous Super Bowl, I think. As far as the Pro Bowl, I don't understand why the NFL has to throw that weekend in between the Super Bowl and the championship games, because really everyone's pumped after these NFC title games. As John Madden used to say back in the old Madden games, a lot of times the NFC and AFC title games are actually better than the Super Bowls, and that hasn't been the case over the past 4 or 5 seasons. But people want to see that Super Bowl next weekend. And I'm happy the NFL season goes longer, but I don't know what I'm going to be doing next weekend. I'm sure as hell I'm not going to watch a Pro Bowl game with a bunch of guys who don't care. A lot of them have down seasons, guys like Phillip Rivers and guys like that. And you can't even sack the quarterback. So I don't know why anyone would possibly want to watch the Pro Bowl. As far as how this game went down, I mean, this is why the NFL playoffs are the best, because every single game could be one of those games that you talk about in 10 years and say, that was a classic game. I remember watching the Giants and the Packers a few years ago, and this game, I had no idea at halftime that this game was going to be like this. Just like last week in the Saints and 49ers, I had no idea. But this week, the game developed, it was a tremendously defensive overtime, and for it to turn on a punt like that kind of sucked, but this game was a classic, I think.
So there you go, guys. We got the final. We got the New York Giants versus the New England Patriots at Super Bowl 46 in the house that Peyton built. And I want to hear your guys' comments on this game. Leave your comments down below. And make sure to check out our website. We have said we will be launching it this week, but it was not to be. We decided that we were going to launch it after the Super Bowl week, because maybe then we'll get some more stories. We'll have a complete Super Bowl coverage. But other than that, guys, let's hear your comments. I'm Justin. He is Tim. This is The Real Sports Talk. We'll see you guys later.